So let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's one of those technologies that promises just incredible progress. But like so many powerful tools, there's a flip side. It's got this dual-use nature.
All right, so let's really get into it. AI, it can predict patterns, it can persuade people, and yeah, it can even police entire populations. So what does that mean for us? That's the huge question we're tackling here. Is this tech going to strengthen our freedom, or is it going to intensify our fears?
To really get a handle on the risks, we've got to start with the basics. We need to look at the classic authoritarian playbook and then see how AI is giving it this massive technological upgrade.
Okay, so if you break it down, authoritarian rule has always kind of leaned on three main pillars. First, you've got information control. Second, mass surveillance to keep an eye on everyone. And third, coercion to stamp out any opposition. The scary part, AI is like pouring gasoline on every single one of those.
Now, this is a really key shift. AI flips information control from being reactive to being proactive. So, instead of just playing whack-a-mole and deleting posts after they pop up, regimes can now use LLMs, the same kind of tech in ChatGPT, to predict and squash narratives before they even have a chance to go viral. And when you throw in super cheap, localized deepfakes, well, you've got a weapon of mass persuasion.
And that surveillance, it becomes constant. We're not talking about a camera here or there anymore. We're talking about this continuous ambient surveillance. Imagine fusing data from every CCTV camera with biometrics and your phone's location. It creates this incredibly powerful chilling effect. Because think about it, even if the technology isn't 100% accurate, just the fear that you might be watched is often enough to silence people.
And all of this leads to the final and maybe most direct piece of the puzzle, coercion. They're calling it predictive governance. The state doesn't just wait around to punish dissent anymore, it actively tries to preempt it. Algorithms start flagging people as suspicious based on all that data we just talked about. This can lead to these automated scoring systems and, in the worst cases, even arbitrary detention. It's literally turning digital breadcrumbs into devastating, real-world consequences.
Okay, so how does this all actually work in practice? Let's build the system out, piece by piece. We're going to call it the authoritarian tech stack.
All right, layer one, the foundation of the whole thing, sensing and identification. We're talking wide area CCTV, geolocation from your phone, biometrics. This is the raw data, the fuel that powers the entire system.
Then you get to layer two, data fusion. This is where it gets really smart and kind of creepy. It takes all that raw data and starts mashing it together, your phone records, your travel history, your financial data, to build these incredibly detailed profiles. The goal? To find anomalies, which is just a fancy word for anything that looks like dissent.
Okay, layer three is all about controlling the pipes of the internet. Think filtering and throttling. This is where they use tech to block websites, inspect your internet traffic, and just generally stop people from mobilizing. And now, with AI classifiers, this gets way more powerful. They can automatically spot and flag any attempt to organize online, almost in real time.
Moving up the stack to layer 4, we're on the offensive now. This is all about narrative operations. We're talking about weaponizing generative AI to pump out localized disinformation and super convincing deepfake audio. The idea is to just flood the zone, shape public opinion, and create chaos and confusion.
And the final layer, layer 5. This one is maybe the most subtle, but it's incredibly powerful. It's about putting guardrails on consumer AI. Think about your everyday AI assistant, but it's been designed with state-approved red lines. So you can't ask it about certain historical events or sensitive political topics. It basically built an invisible wall around what you're even allowed to know.
Okay, but here's the thing, and this is maybe the most important point of all. It's easy to think, well, that's just a problem for autocracies. But it's not. These exact same tools pose a profound threat to democracies too. See, the technology itself is neutral. It's the framing that changes. What an autocrat calls population control, a democracy might call public safety. Propaganda becomes public engagement. And dissent suppression, well, that just gets a friendly new name, content moderation. So how does this creeping erosion of our rights actually happen? Well, think about predictive policing that just ends up reinforcing old biases, or social media nudges that shape our political views without us even knowing. And what about automated systems for things like welfare or immigration that can deny you crucial services with no clear explanation and no easy way to appeal? It's already happening. Look, I know this sounds like a pretty grim picture, but it's not hopeless. Far from it. So let's pivot and talk about solutions. How do we build up our democratic resilience? It's going to take a multi-layered approach.
First things first, we need some serious legal guardrails. We're talking about banning or, at the very least, sharply limiting things like public biometric scanning, and we absolutely have to prohibit governments from creating social scores. But maybe most important of all, we have to guarantee due process. If an AI makes a decision that affects your life, you have a right to know why, and you have a right to appeal it.
But it's not just about laws. We also need smarter governance and better tech. That means things like independent watchdogs for algorithms and public registries so we all know what high-risk AI systems are being used. And on the tech side, one of the biggest moves we can make is adopting content credentials so that we can all have a better shot at figuring out what's real and what's fake online.
And that gets us to a brand new skill that, honestly, we all need to learn: provenance literacy. It sounds fancy, but it's pretty simple. It's the ability to look at a piece of digital content and figure out where it came from and whether it's authentic. And this is exactly why tools and standards like C2PA for content credentials are going to be so essential for all of us.
So this all brings us to the fundamental choice we have to make. And I want to be really clear here. This isn't some simple trade-off between efficiency and freedom. It's much deeper than that.
At its core, democracy is a method for ordinary people to contest power. AI can go one of two ways. It can enhance that method, giving us new tools to hold power accountable, or it can completely undermine it, turning politics into a top-down, programmable system where we're the ones being programmed.
So what's the solution? Well, it might sound a little strange, but we need to embrace friction. All that stuff that can feel slow, like proper documentation, rigorous testing, independent reviews, those aren't bugs in the system. They're absolutely essential features of a democratic AI. They're what ensure we have oversight and human judgment. Because at the end of the day, as our source material puts it so perfectly, in the enduring struggle between technological prowess and human values, legitimacy will always triumph over frictionless control.
So where do we go from here? Well, the path forward is going to require real constitutional courage, smart institutional design, and a healthy dose of technical realism. Which leaves all of us with one final urgent question. How are we going to make sure that our technology serves our values and not the other way around?